Hi, welcome to CSET Biology, the cover page. Let's talk about components of the blood. Can you identify the components of the blood? Let's try. Red blood cell, white blood cell, white blood cell, platelets, plasma, red blood cell. We were correct. Phagocyte. That's a type of white blood cell. Lymphocyte, that's also a type of white blood cell. Platelets, and of course, plasma. Red blood cells are also called erythrocytes. They are made in the red bone marrow. Approximately 5 million is found in a millimeter cube of blood. This increases the surface area of the blood to move gases quickly. Red blood cells are said to be biconcave discs, which means that there is a depression on both sides of the cell, and this increases the rate of diffusion for the blood cell. They transport oxygen, which combines with hemoglobin to make oxyhemoglobin. Red blood cell also carries some amount of carbon dioxide. They are the most numerous component of the blood since the plasma is not counted. They have no nuclei. They are short-lived, about 120 days, and are destroyed by the liver and spleen. Here we look at the diagram of a red blood cell, and this area shows the concave area of the cell, and it is on both sides of a red blood cell, which makes it 2 bi, hence biconcave. White blood cells are called leukocytes. The white blood cell serves as part of the body's defense mechanism. They are made in bone marrow, spleen, and lymph nodes. They are not as numerous as a red blood cell, as only approximately 10,000 is found in a millimeter cube of blood. They are, however, larger than the red blood cell. There we have it, the phagocyte, a type of white blood cell. The lymphocyte, another type of white blood cell, and we must be reminded that these are not the only types of white blood cells, but of course, you'll continue the research. Lymphocytes, they make antibodies that destroys pathogen. They have a central nucleus. It is important to note that we are not going to be covering other types of white blood cell for this lesson. However, you'll be treated with information on the phagocytes and, of course, lymphocytes. Phagocytes engulf foreign organisms through phagocytosis. They have lobed nucleus and are usually granular in structure. They are usually irregular shape. So if you were supposed to look at the phagocyte here, you'll realize the lobe nucleus. Here we have a lobe nucleus, and it seems to be somewhat, it has a rough coat, somewhat granular. That's what it means here. It has this rough coat and the lobe nucleus. And of course, it would pretty much put the body in the shape of a lobe nucleus in order to carry out phagocytosis. The lymphocyte is somewhat different. Thrombocytes are platelets. Platelets, they have no nucleus, as they are just small fragments from the red blood cell. They are irregular in shape and are usually found in fragment groups. So usually the platelets are pretty much in the blood like a group here, and they might not be represented like this on your exams, but usually once we're looking at blood cells and we're seeing these small fragments together like we're seeing here, it pretty much tells us that that's the platelet. They are colorless, and that's important to note. So if we look at what should be the blood vessel here, we would see the different components. Now this is really simplified, as you are seeing this yellow area which represents the plasma. Really, it doesn't appear to be like that in the body, but for you to identify the components, we would have simplified and made all these pretty visible for you. Platelets are much smaller than red and white blood cells. Only approximately 250,000 can be found in a millimeter cube of blood. Platelets are important in clot formation at the site of a wound. Plasma. Plasma is a yellow part of the blood that is made of approximately 90% water and the rest made of solute, and that's going to be about 10%. It is the main transport mechanism of the blood. Plasma supply water to the tissues and of course all cells. It carries hormones from gland to target site. Plasma carries nitrogenous waste to excretory organs. Plasma also transports nutrients from the intestine to liver and tissues. It helps to transport heat in the blood. Plasma also transports carbon dioxide as bicarbonate to the lungs. Plasma carries all the components of the blood, and hence it makes up 55% of the blood. Products from plasma are used to treat patients with burn, trauma, and other emergencies. It's important to note that the red blood cell lacks a nucleus, as it increases the space of the red blood cell to carry the added oxygen needed for respiration. Now tell me, can you identify the cells on the screen? Can you identify the components of the blood? Tell us in the comments below. Thanks much for watching, and please be reminded to like, share, and subscribe. And when you do, click that notification bell and select all. Also be reminded to join us on a Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday at 5:05 p.m. for live classes from Kingston, Jamaica. Thanks for watching.